sunrise. And I try and take different types of photographs of different parts of the sunrise. And this was one where I got way down low, and without it, that would have been a pretty boring sunrise. But this gets a different feel because I got down low. Okay? And this is the ultimate get down low. Anybody know where I am? The Space Needle in Seattle. And you can take a picture of the Space Needle, you know, standing up looking at it, but if you get in this position and look at it, you have not only, wow, that's really interesting, that's really high up there, but you also have a very interesting visual, high contrast image that keeps a person's attention. And it's kind of a mystery a little bit, like, what am I looking at? That's pretty cool. People look at things longer if they have to figure out what it is. Okay? Okay. So, get empty. When you get empty, you clarify things. When you get empty, you simplify things. You have one thing, and one thing only, that people are paying attention to. And people might say, well, why do this? This is kind of boring. But if you've looked at any of the memes online, of, you know, with quotes on them and all that kind of stuff, what do they have? They have empty space. So if I'm Napkin Dad Creative and I want to say we can help you find your groove, I have a big blank space to put that in there. Okay? So think in terms of empty space, both for the possibility that you could put something in terms of text, but also just for the simplicity being something that's compelling. Okay? This is a building down in Broken Arrow, kind of like the Leaning Tower of Broken Arrow. And it's kind of cool. That's kind of a document. There's a documentary picture of this thing. It's interesting. But that's better. It's better because, one, the rule of thirds is happening, and I'm not a big rule guy when it comes to photography, but the rule of thirds is something that if you're not all that involved in photography and you're just trying to figure out how to get a compelling image, it's a great way to start. This is down here, right in the third area. This starts to come across and holds this whole area here like this. This leans into there a little bit better. So there's a huge power in open blank space, whether or not you're going to use a text or not. Another example of get empty. This was on the road to California. I thought that was pretty cool. A little Indian down here, big arrow up here. There were like 5 big, gigantic arrows at this truck stop. Like, that's interesting. But I like the whole idea of the big arrow and the small Indian in the background. The simplicity of it makes it more compelling. Okay, so tell a story. A compelling image reveals as much about the creator as it does about the muse. I drew this yesterday, and the idea was that she is at the edge of the red carpet watching this woman walk down the red carpet, this star. And the star has a terrible dress on. It's going to be in the worst dress list. She has a snake tattoo. She has terrible makeup on. She's going to be ridiculed by Joan Rivers. But this woman doesn't care because she has the most awesome earrings ever. So what did she do? She took a photograph of those earrings. She focused on what she loved. She focused on what mattered to her visually. And it makes a difference when you're thinking about what to photograph. Go with your gut. Go with what you like. If you like someone's curly red hair, take a picture of the curly red hair. Don't say, I have to take a picture of all of her. Say, can I take a picture of your curly red hair? It's really awesome. Tell a story. I did a photo shoot with her when she was doing a story. And so I thought one of the best ways to do it is to have her looking like she's interviewing me, about to talk to me to get the story. I thought that was a good way to tell her story. Okay, so this is my house. It was a lot of snow. you know, that was, whatever, 2 years ago, back when we had snow. And, you know, so you see a lot of snow. But it doesn't really tell much of a story. This tells a story. Neither one of them had anything to do with how great my camera was. Neither one of them had anything to do with that I had a big honking camera or a cell phone camera. What it had to do with was I saw something that told a story about what it really felt like that morning. And I captured it. Okay? We were driving by, going to wherever we were going some Saturday afternoon, my wife and daughter and I, and we turned the corner in Glenville, where we live now, and lo and behold, we see this house on fire. And we drive, I mean, it just like exploded on fire right as we turned. We drove in, and lo and behold, we were the very first people, this is after, we were the very first people who showed up, helped the people out of the house, and afterwards I took some pictures. This shows a fire, right? But, but look at this. The difference is that this leads you into the fire because of this in here. So when you're taking photographs and you're trying to figure out how to tell a story, don't focus just on this one thing. Think about what's in front of it, what's behind it, what's low on the ground that can help inform it. I could have had a fire hydrant here, would have been good. Something else that gives the person a reason to go into the photograph, okay? So remember that one that was the rule of thirds that had these trees that I showed a little while ago? Well, I don't know if you know about the whole thing that's been happening all across the western United States where the boar beetles, or whatever they're called, have been eating all the trees. Yellowstone looks like a nuclear bomb went off, and so does a ton of other parts of the West, Colorado and other places. And I was trying to figure out, and we knew this as we rode through it, and I was trying to figure out what would really tell a story. That one I just showed that was even tells that story too, but this tells the story as well. It's really just so depressing to drive through there and see what has happened. And I felt like this told the story pretty well. Okay, so to review, we have front light, we have environmental, we have the partial part. Think of those three things, because we're going to go do those three things right now. Okay? We have the rule of thirds. We have get high and get low, which means the opposite actually. It means you're going to take a picture looking up and looking down. You're going to get empty and you're going to tell a story. Okay? So you can either write these down. As a matter of fact, write these down. The portrait, there's three portraits. Front light, environmental, and partial. And the partial, try as hard as you can to not show the face. Okay? Then there's the rule of thirds. Get high, get low, get empty, and then tell a story. And I think what you'll probably find is that a number of the photographs you take combine more than one of these things. Okay? This tells a story, this tells a story, this tells a story. They all tell variations of the story, some better than others. Some of them are where I'm low, looking up, but it's also a partial portrait. So don't think about it has to just be one. Think about all of them. I mean, we're going to go through and do one at a time, but I want you to think about how, when you look at them later, how they are combined. Okay? Okay, so that's the end of the presentation, but we're going to go outside And we're not leaving yet. We're going to go outside. We can leave your stuff here. We're going to take pictures in the lobby. And in that room over here, we're going to lift these windows up. And we'll go from there. But before we do that, up there at the very top, meetup.com, Tulsa Digital Photography Group. I'm one of the coordinators of that group. We have over 800 members in Tulsa. If you're really interested in photography, we are now a member organization under the Arts and Humanities Council in Tulsa. And it's a great organization. We do shoots, we do lectures. I'm going to be giving one next week on black and white photography, and then we're going to go to Philbrook and do it in black and white. So all sorts of cool stuff, and then we're a few websites as well. Okay? Okay, so.
Do you, for those groups, I'm sorry,
Question.
do you need an actual camera to participate?
No, you don't. To go to that group?
Yeah.
No. If you want to have your cell phone, that's fine.
Like your lecture.
Most people, yeah, you can just go. Most people have cameras. Some people have big, honking, gigantic cameras. You know, they're just like way intimidating. And I'm not one of those because I don't like that. My muscles aren't strong enough to carry those things. And some people have point shoots. Some people are beginners. Some people are advanced. And some people are more like me, portrait oriented. Some people are old barn art oriented. Some people are flowers. Some people are, they love to do horses. We have professionals, we have amateurs, so everybody in between. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do front light. Now, let me tell you how we're going to do front light. Oh, wait. That's one of them. Okay, so we're going to open these windows up, and over in that room right over there, it's all full of windows. I want you to get together with one other person, whoever it is, right next to you, and you're going to take pictures of each other, okay? And what that means is one of you is going to be standing. I'm making a mess here. One of you is going to be standing here taking the picture right here, and the other person's going to be right here. And what's that? Front lighting. Okay? And when you take that picture, I want you to take a nice, relatively close-up of the person. Then I want you to get back and figure out how can I put them in an environment. Okay? How can I put them with this interesting wall behind them? How can I put them with some chairs? How can I put them so that I can see out the window in downtown Tulsa? Think creatively about how you can move away from just a portrait and put something else in it. And when you do that, you're probably going to start to be going to the rule of thirds. Okay? So, if you have those, I have that on mine right here. We're going to go out there and we're going to start taking some pictures. Okay?